How's it going, everyone? Cam here. Today, we are on my Twitch, reacting live. Say hi to the chat, everybody. We are going to be breaking down my new rap battle, Baldi versus Monika, kind of giving you a little bit of reaction, kind of explaining some of the bars, giving you a little bit of behind-the-scenes process. And if you want to be a part of these reactions, breakdowns, whatever's going on, go to twitch.tv/CamVGRB, follow me there. And while you're at it, why don't you hit the like button on this video, hit subscribe, and let's break down Baldi versus Monika. Let's turn this up. This is where you are right now. It's a little quiet, so we're going to crank that up a tiny bit for me. All right, let's do this. Shout out to Rydos, who did the SFM work on this one.
Here's some early access in my classes to my friendless call, cause when I started down and flow, I can to go to endless mode. And I'll vote to end your cohort club of depression. Come on, this is a math lesson, not a therapy session. You messing with...
So that was what I really wanted to start by doing, is establishing the matchup, is, you know, the two school characters. And, obviously, I've used Baldi a bunch of different times, so I wanted to include a few lines that really reference things that are new to Baldi, because Baldi's had some new updates recently. So endless mode, when I start inventing flows, I tend to go to endless mode. Some internal rhyme schemes, stuff like that. I'll vote to end your cohort club of depression. This is a math lesson, not a therapy session. That's kind of the establishing thing of... Come on, this is a classroom. This doesn't need to be a whole suicidal, everybody kill themselves, everybody's all depressed about people. Just learn math. So, Baldi's establishing the position of power here. That's kind of what I wanted to do with those lines.
Cause when I started down and flow, I can to go to endless mode, and then I'll vote to end your cohort club of depression. Come on, this is a math lesson, not a therapy session. You messing with your friends drove them to madness, so you get a lonely man. You're better off if you ditch class and started up an OnlyFans.
I love that line so much. Just at this point, when I'm using characters a bunch of different times, I need to think of creative ways to kind of diss them, so come at them from a little bit of outside of their own territory. So it's like, your whole thing is you're just fighting for desperation, you're fighting to get the attention of people. Just start an OnlyFans. What are you doing in school? You'd be better off on OnlyFans. So I like that. I like bringing in real world references into the rap battles. Also, as you guys can tell, the beat is pretty basic from the beginning. We start off very kind of techno-y to kind of match Baldi's simplistic flow, the simplistic bars, stuff like that.
So you get a lonely man, you're better off if you ditch class and started up an OnlyFans. The only cause that you were broke, the best one with all of those clothes. Sorry, it's looking like Cloudy's the only one here with getting to blow.
I got a question.
Okay, so... one of the new characters is Cloudy Copter, Cloudy, so he blows people, so haha, you, only Cloudy gets to blow. It's a sex joke, and I love the only code you broke is the dress one with those clothes. I love that line so much, because, you know, Monika's all about hacking into people's code, breaking down code, and, like, Baldi's like, the only code you're breaking is the dress code. Because look at how you're dressed. You're a teenager and you're looking like that. It's funny. I like these lines.
Started up an OnlyFans, the only cause that you were broke. The best one with all of those clothes. Sorry, it's looking like Cloudy's the only one here with getting to blow.
Hey teacher, I got a question. Where's your full game? The one that was kickstarted years ago for 60K? Then the perks to all the patrons wound up coming late, and what's left's a glitchy mess that even I couldn't play.
All right, before the beat drop, because the beat drop goes hard. God, I love Monika's verse so much. She killed it. This actress, Azia. I know Emmy Jones played Monika in the last one, but I brought on Azia for this one just because, like, I knew Azia was capable of kind of the faster rapping that I was writing for this. So Azia completely murdered this part. And what I wanted to do with the intro was, okay, so Baldi establishes power in the first part of his verse. So Monika needs to establish her role as the student in this position. So like, you ever be sitting in a classroom and then all of a sudden there's the smart kid in class who completely dunks on the teacher, like, but teacher, what about this? What about that? And that's what Monika's doing here. It's just the whole like, where's your game, teacher? You know, the one that you raised $60,000 for and the perks came in late and now your game is a mess. That was so fun to write, and she pulled it off so well, so shout out to her. And like, it was really funny to have Baldi like be insecure, like studying like stuttering, not studying. That's Monika's job.
Patrons wound up coming late, and what's left's a glitchy mess that even I couldn't play. President's telling it how it is after this message you're dropping in relevance. This time you're writing, I know you're not sentient, so artificial, but look the intelligence. Well, if it's truly the best all that money could do, you're selling it so that your plushy could too. And don't bring up code because from what I viewed, if I broke a program, you'd only improve.
Shout out to, so Hollywood Legends produced the beat, but Dustin did a lot of work. Oh, and Dustin's now in the chat. Dustin did a lot of work on the beat, and he absolutely killed it on this one. And so the beat drop goes really hard, and Azia just murders the verses as Monika. So Monika goes insanely tough on this one, and I love the individual lines on this one too. Like, I always like writing fast flows that incorporate bars into it.
I couldn't play.
The president's telling how it is. I love this part. Like, she's studying the writing. Based on your writing, I know you're not sentient. You're so artificial, but lack the intelligence, because she's a sentient AI. So she's like, she's looking at, like, the president's telling it how it is after these messages are dropping irrelevance. You're fake, Baldi. She's calling you fake. You're artificial, but you lack the intelligence. So you're not an AI. You are just fake. You are fake, bro. I love that line so much.
Not sentient, so artificial, but look the intelligence. Well, if it's truly the best all that money could do, you're selling it so that your plushy could too.
And then I like the whole Baldi's kind of become a merch cash grab. Even like the way that the game company's been treating him is they're really not pushing the game too hard. They were really focusing on the Baldi merchandising and stuff like that. So I really had to incorporate if this is the best you can do, you're just selling out so your plushie could sell out too. So like, it's all about moving products. So I like this part.
And don't bring up code because from what I viewed, if I broke a program, you'd only improve.
I thought there were no stupid questions, but you proved me wrong with that poetry scheme. Trying to diss me about my release, what happened in 2018. Open your third eye in case you can't tell. The portrait of Marcus are ringing a bell. You're that and all that amounts to a project as dead as your Twitter account.
So, Baldi had to come back with fast flows. If Monika was gonna ride the beat crazy, Baldi needed to rebuttal with a very similar flow and come out insanely tough. So Baldi's was going to be a little bit more of a direct response, where Monika's talking about the release of the game, and Monika was talking about Baldi's release of the game. So Baldi had to respond with like, okay, if you're talking about how my game is not coming out, then what happened to Portrait of Markov, which is something you've teased to be released in 2018? Where did that happen? Where did that go, Doki Doki Literature Club, Team Salvato? What happened to Portrait of Markov? That was supposed to be 2018. So, Baldi had to rebuttal with that part. And then you just added all it amounts to as a project is as your Twitter account. Because Monika's Twitter account is completely, like, dead. She had her own Twitter account. But it's also just a reference to your project is dead.
Twitter account, you're a stalker. Makes sense with the toddlers will place in your game. At least Team Salvato completed a project. Your company's basically lame. I thought you could elevate when your school renovates, but when reviewing your rhymes, I find your rapping is just like your mapping. You randomly generate lines.
So Baldi's maps are randomly generated in the new Super Schoolhouse. So like the whole thing, thank you for the follow. The whole thing is that Baldi's schoolhouse has been renovated to become the Super Schoolhouse in the new update. So, and there's an elevator. So I thought you could elevate when your school renovates, but when reviewing your rhymes, I find your rapping is like your mapping because you randomly generate lines. So tying in the whole gameplay and the way that the code works and everything like that. And the other side of it is my Twitter account, you're a stalker, makes sense with the toddlers I'll place in your game. Your company is basically lame because the company is called Basically Games. I thought that was a funny little play on words. And Baldi's Basics is a weird game. There's like pictures of toddlers like in the game. I know it's supposed to be like weird and glitchy, but it's just weird. It's weird.
Don't you bring your friend for when we do show and tell. I know that Playtime and Sayori would just get along swell. Like Yansky's nephew snap at me about my gaming crime, but at least Baldi's not on BBC for causing suicides.
I feel like I had to bring something big for Baldi because the Slenderman, against Slenderman, he did the whole, oh, in real life, the Slenderman, like, stabbings happened, and Baldi referenced that. So I feel like I needed something big, and I don't think most people have referenced the whole Doki Doki being on BBC. This line isn't to make fun of the, you know, the unfortunate death of the situation. This line is to make fun of BBC for blaming Doki Doki Literature Club. So it's not a line about, haha, you cause suicides. It's, you're on BBC and you get bad press. It's more of a line about the bad media cycles than about actual suicide. So I don't want to make fun of that situation. It's making fun of BBC taking it out of context and making it a stupid situation. And I still think the line hits hard either way. Also, of course, had to reference, I referenced the Yuri lines. I referenced Yuri in Monika versus Yandere-chan. And so I had to bring in the other two girls for this one.
Crime, but at least Baldi's not on BBC for causing suicides.
I'm done with the erasing of this horror game sham. Because you're out of the equation now, I'm talking to Cam.
That's me! That's me! So we wanted to really break the fourth wall. It's Monika. Her whole thing is in the ending scene, we wanted to recreate the ending scene where Monika does her thing where she's like looking directly at the player. She's looking directly at the player. And so in this one, she's like, all right, cool. Let me strip back, open the fourth wall, and talk directly to me as the creator, talking directly to the creator, the person playing the game. And so at first, I was just going to have Monika talk directly into the camera, and I wasn't going to be in here. So it'd be like, oh, she's talking directly to the viewer, but talking directly to me. But then the idea of green screening me into the shot just seemed like so much fun. So we went ahead and did it.
Erasing of this horror game sham. Because you're out of the equation now, I'm talking to Cam, man. Whenever all your comments.
Did the animator, someone asked, did the animator add that in, or did you add it in post? So I storyboarded what the shots would look like. So there's a storyboard of how, like, oh, okay, let me see if I can find the clip right here. So there's a storyboard of me just kind of sitting like this, and then they animated in the character afterward. So I'm the one who dropped this in at the end, but the animator set it up based around what I storyboarded.
Cam, man. Whenever all your comments has to do something new, we all know you'll say just Baldi so that you can get views.
Okay. Yeah. So she dissed the VGRB channel. So that's the thing is, obviously, some comments from people say, oh, Baldi's just used for views. Which it kind of is. Let's be honest here. I do Baldi battles because everybody always asks about Baldi. Like, they keep saying, like, I keep getting comments every day about Baldi coming back. And I'm like, screw it. Let's do it. Baldi comes back. Because people just keep wanting it. People keep asking, so he comes back. And so Monika's kind of pulling down the curtain and being like, Cam, come on. You're doing this because you're getting views off of it. Like, nobody cares about Baldi. Which is kind of false. Apparently, a lot of people care about Baldi. But it's also kind of true in my motivation for keep bringing that back. So, it's, it was a lot of fun. And I like this shot a lot. I actually, my favorite part My favorite part's just this, where like I'm out of focus and she's in here. It's like, oh, that's me with my waifu. So, yeah, that's my breakdown of it. Shout out to the Stupendium for coming back as Baldi. That was crazy. Shout out to Ozia for killing it as Monika, and shout out to Rydos for killing the animation. Shout out to Dustin for the killer work on the mixing. So that was a lot of fun to make. I'm glad that whenever I do another one of these battles, that I can bring something new to it, and I genuinely feel like I brought something new to these characters, so I'm very happy with how this one turned out. So thank you guys for watching. If you want to be part of these live streams, you better come through to twitch.tv/CamVGRB, where I stream 3 days a week usually. And you can also hit that subscribe button for more reactions. Why don't you hit a like? If you made it this far, why don't you comment just Baldi? All right, I'm done.